Central Ohio is blessed to be home to so many amazing people whose generous spirit makes our community a special place to live. You are looking at the faces of the finalists for the 2019 Jefferson Awards. These are people who have given of themselves to the benefit of others, not expecting or wanting recognition or reward, but doing so because they saw a need and committed their time, talent, and resources to make our community a better place to live. We received more than 150 nominations for this year's Jefferson Awards, and our judging panel, made up of civic and community leaders, chose 20 finalists and ultimately 5 winners, and you're going to meet those winners tonight.
Welcome to 10 TV's presentation of the 2019 Jefferson Awards. The Jefferson Awards is sponsored by Lifeline of Ohio.
Hello, I'm Angela Pace, Director of Community Affairs for WBNS 10 TV. Tonight, we will introduce you to 5 amazing people who stand out among their peers for their can-do, giving spirit and dedication to our community. We begin with a woman who lives in Columbus's Linden area. She has turned her own childhood experience of lacking basic hygiene items into a crusade to make sure that no one, no matter how poor, has to go without the basics.
I'm doing it from empathy, not sympathy, because I've been there.
Thank you for helping me.
You're welcome.
You're a blessed woman.
Thank
God bless you.
Within the Linden community of Columbus lives a woman with a heart big enough to share with everyone.
Here's a hug for you, sister.
Thank you.
Tammy Jewell's mission to give back started from what she didn't have growing up.
Well, what led me here was the lifestyle that I led in my younger days. I was embarrassed, you know, maybe my pants were too short, maybe my hair was greasy, maybe I didn't have any toothpaste. You might cut school, that's what happened to me. I cut school, and so education and hygiene is dear to my heart. So I wanted to give the community what I was looking for. There you go. And I put you in their Levi hat, buddy. Now you're a designer.
There you go.
Guided by a higher power, she started God's Hygiene Help Center in 2011.
Okay, next one.
What began in her neighbor's garage has now evolved into Tammy serving clients from her front door.
Welcome. Come on in.
2 rooms of her home are now dedicated to storing everyday essentials available for free to anyone who asks.
There's laundry detergent and dishwashing liquid and razors so you can get a job.
And with the need for help only growing, Tammy and her team have expanded God's Hygiene to a 2nd Linden location.
We moved into the Douglas Center and we filled a closet, a giant closet, and Tuesday through Saturday, their staff runs it, and then 2 of our volunteers stock it and inventory it weekly.
Literally, it's a blessing for the South Linden community, and it's definitely a blessing for the city of Columbus. Kids, especially teens, they want to be clean in a certain way. They can come here, get what they need, and it's been raising the attendance in a few schools around here.
But her organization isn't just handing out free hygiene items.
We service the local schools like Linden McKinley. We also do Secret Santa, and we do Project Deep Freeze, where we take coats and body warmers and emergency blankets.
Even Columbus police officers are lending a helping hand.
We work closely with the community as liaison officers, and Tammy's a great resource. Well, at times she will give us supplies that she feels that we can get into places maybe she can't.
From having so little to giving so much. Backed by her church and a strong group of supporters, there's no stopping Tammy Jewell's love.
Tammy brings love and genuine compassion.
Hey, and there's a blanket in there for you.
It's not just the products that she's providing, it's the heart of God's Hygiene Help Center. The heart is, what can I do to help you, brother, get on your feet and make it?
And we love her.
You never know when that one interaction is going to change somebody's life because someone cared, and she's that someone that cares.
God repurposed me, so Now my purpose is to serve my brothers and sisters.
Tammy Jewell was presented her Jefferson Award at our ceremony held at the Lincoln Theater. Tammy's big heart and giving soul is an inspiration to us all. Congratulations to Tammy Jewell. For many of us, a furnished home is something that we take for granted. But for far too many of our neighbors, a roof, bed, or even furniture to put our belongings in can be a luxury. Our next winner came up with a way to quickly manufacture a chest of drawers so that volunteer woodworkers can meet the demand of basic furniture needed in our community.
The community needs it. We see many families coming in here in need of furniture to support their homes. And it's a good feeling to be able to help. I'm Lou Gatch, and I build 4-drawer dressers for the Furniture Bank of Central Ohio for people in need.
He was the one who really got the dresser design down for us. We were at that time only making 1 dresser a week, and we knew that that was not enough. And so Lou thought he could make that a little better for us.
And I redesigned the case, the chest of drawers, to make it manufacturable. The way it was being done at that present time was very hand-and-mouth. Individual pieces were hand-fit, and it wasn't something that you could do on a production basis. Assembly time is about 8 to 10 minutes. By the end of the day, we can get up to 25 to 30 cases in one 6-hour shift, really. So from the 1 a week, we're up to 40 a week with the two days involved.
What he's done has been unbelievable. I mean, since Lou started, we've made over 12,000 dressers that are out there in the community right now in folks' homes. And we're with kids, with families, giving them an opportunity in their bedroom to actually have their clothing stored and put up. It's pretty cool.
You see the sign back there? Last 2 weeks ago, we had 12,000 dressers. 12,000. 48,000 drawers. I mean, you know, you think about numbers, it's quite amazing. And it's all volunteer.
They are doing this out of the goodness of their heart, and those acts of kindness make such a difference for the families we serve, and it's very inspirational for us as a team, as a staff as well.
If they have to come in here to get support, they're in trouble. And hopefully they get out of that need of support from the community and be on their own. And they're gone as fast as we can make them. And we continue to make them.
And Lou is kind of the glue that holds it all together. And so we're so appreciative. I mean, Lou is making sure all the jigs are working, that all the machines are sharpened and ready to go, and so if anything breaks down, Lou's Mr. Fix-It. He's the first one there to help us fix the saw or fix the router, and he just takes a tremendous sense of pride in his work, and it shows.
Congratulations to Lou Gatch, winner of a 2019 Jefferson Award. Lou has used his talent and ingenuity to fill a great need in our community. Coming up, we'll meet a man who has devoted his entire life to serving the neighbors of his lifelong home. Welcome back to the 2019 Jefferson Award Special. For some folks, the neighborhood where you grow up doesn't always remain your home. But for some, home is always home, and neighbors become family. One Columbus man is making sure that his neighbors and family have the best home possible.
Hey, Miss Tanya, is that bucket of ice still in there? It means home. Here, guys. It means comfort, home, joy. Everybody got it? My name is Charles Tompkins. I've lived over here in the Milo Grogan community for over 50 years now.
I'm your mama, you got it.
The neighborhood of Milo Grogan is surrounded by interstates and train tracks. But within those boundaries lies a community that helped shape the man Charles Tompkins is today.
Growing up in the community, we all took care of each other. The food is going to be here.
A community that looks out for its own.
And my father was that person that everybody in the community went to if there was a problem. And as time went on, I actually became like my father.
As a teenager, that meant volunteering his time at the local rec center, where he found more role models.
They showed me how important it is to be able to have a blessing, but also to hand that blessing to somebody else and to look after your neighbors in your community.
For more than 40 years, Charles has embodied that mantra.
Whenever there's something going on in our community, Charles is always there.
You know, a lot of people like to be out in the limelight. A lot of people want things for themselves, but he never was like that.
When I grew up, we didn't have this.
As chair of the Milo Grogan Area Commission, he's been instrumental in many projects, none more dear to his heart than the construction of a new rec center.
Every time I come in here, it's just like the first time all over again. When they got done building the gym, and they had just got done glazing the floor, they let me be the first person to step on the floor. When I walked in and I saw that M, I just broke down into tears. It meant a lot. It was a long time coming.
40 years after he started, Charles still coaches baseball and basketball. But his work doesn't stop there.
We're gonna call in on this right here.
He was instrumental in the creation of New Beginnings Park, which he helped name. He also helped create and run the annual community event, Milo Fest. He even organized an appreciation breakfast and lunch for the first responders in the city of Columbus.
I wanted to do something to show young people that everybody's not the same. Now, when that day first started out, the young people was kind of separate from them. But as the day went on, the officers, the young people was wearing their hats. They were hugging, they was talking, they was exchanging phone numbers. So not only did we make friends, we built relationships.
And to top it all off, for more than 30 years, he's been helping less fortunate families celebrate the holidays by organizing an Adopt a Family program.
It's just about people coming together just to take care of each other.
He doesn't do it because he feels obligated. He doesn't do it for the glory. So after all these years, why does Charles Tompkins do it?
To be there, to let people know that if they needed me for anything, I was there. I can't give you a reason why, but it's just part of me. It's who I am.
Charles received his Jefferson Award at our ceremony in early April. His selfless dedication to his neighbors' well-being embodies the spirit of the Jefferson Awards. Most cities of a certain age have their culturally historic neighborhoods, and those who have come out of these neighborhoods cherish those memories and that identity. Our next winner knew that preserving a piece of the neighborhood was important so that future generations could understand their past.
If you sit in this room, there's so much history that's recorded in this room in these books.
Rita Smith has a story to tell.
On my grandmother's side, her family, she was enslaved.
And genealogy and history.
Can you believe that 200 years ago, that story began?
Are her passions.
For myself, I would have had a different appreciation of my own self-image if I had known the truth about our history. The images of my history in terms of Afro-Americans was some happy slaves around a bonfire. That wasn't much of a history.
The importance of knowing where you came from, your family's past, their traditions, your culture, became the catalyst for Rita on a journey to City Hall and beyond.
I'm Rita Smith, a former resident of Poindexter Village earlier in my life, and I have worked to save this segment of our story and our history.
Poindexter Village, one of the first public housing projects in the country, was a thriving community of more than 400 townhomes spanning 35 buildings. It was a home to many members of the Black community from when it opened in 1940 until the last residents moved out in 2012.
Everywhere you go, you will find somebody that lived in Poindexter Village.
Rita moved into the village shortly after she married, raising her son and twin daughters there.
It was such a safe place, such a special place.
The rally to save a piece of Poindexter began about 10 years ago, shortly after the Columbus Metropolitan Housing Authority announced plans to demolish all 35 buildings.
Oh, look at that.
With the help of other like-minded preservationists, Rita led a small group to form the James Preston Poindexter Foundation. And slowly but surely,
She amassed a coalition of support to save this part of our city's history.
We had that concept nowadays that it was subsidized housing. No, it was not. You had to have a job. And if you lived in Poindexter, you had to have a good reputation, and if you caused any problems, you were quickly removed.
Rita believes this story must be saved, and she would get the word out any way she could.
She'd write to, the head of HUD or to President Obama, and they would all write back and say, well, we're interested in what's going on, and they would look into whatever she said. And that's what really kept the project going for such a long time.
Tony Smith took over as chairperson of the Poindexter Foundation and says it wasn't just Rita's leadership that kept the effort alive, it was also her passion.
And she threatened to tie herself to the tree. I think that sort of stopped people and said, well, maybe we don't really want that image.
I said I was going to come out here and chain myself to that tree, and they kind of took me serious, I guess.
And it was at that meeting that Rita made her stand and really moved one of the board members of CMHA to tears.
After being a resident in Poindexter, I look at the tree and you know that that tree cannot survive without its root system. And our children need to know their roots and their stories.
Rita feels like saving this part of our history is also owed to James Poindexter, the 19th century abolitionist, preacher, and politician that the village was named after.
The savings of these two buildings, I think, will celebrate him in another way, in a new way.
While 33 of the 35 buildings are no more, the two remaining will be here to help tell the stories of this part of our history.
It was a symbol of hope when it was dedicated by President Roosevelt in 1940, and it's a symbol of hope again.
For her determination, perseverance, and leadership in preserving part of our city's past, Rita Smith accepted her Jefferson Award at our ceremony in April. Congratulations. Coming up, this Columbus man is a beacon of light and hope for those who are experiencing the unimaginable. We'll be right back. Welcome back to our 2019 Jefferson Award special. Losing a loved one can be traumatic, life-altering. When that loss comes as a result of suicide, it can leave loved ones with serious questions, feeling helpless, doubting their faith. In that darkest hour, our next Jefferson Award winner gives of himself, volunteering his time to counsel and support those left behind in great despair.
Tom, what did you do when that happened? Can you tell me what helped you get through that time?
Sometimes, in the darkest of times, the only thing that can help is a light. For decades, one Columbus man has tried to make the world brighter for others by working to prevent the loss of life.
My name is Glenn Stevenson, and I'm a volunteer with Franklin County LOS, which is local outreach to suicide survivors. Our mission is to reach out to those bereaved by suicide and to empower them to survive. This is Suicide Prevention Services. Can I help you?
A ray of sun during cloudy skies, Glenn previously served as a lifeline for people calling the Suicide Prevention Hotline.
A coworker encouraged me to get involved with that, and I remember it took them about a year to encourage me. I'm like, I'm not the person for this. And 19 years later, I'm like, wow, this is a big part of my life.
To those who know him, like Sarah Price, she says Glenn has always been a caring, compassionate spirit. Sarah is volunteer coordinator for Franklin County LOS.
You can see it in everything he does with everybody he interacts with.
But it was an early event in his life that revealed his path.
I lost my grandmother to suicide. I was in high school, and I still remember the day that I got the call. It's been 40 years. I'm still impacted by that suicide. I was fortunate to have good support in my life. I just received such non-judgmental, supportive words, and that carries me to this day, and that's something that I want to give back to other people.
That experience, coupled with a young friend's suicide attempt later in life, sparked his fire to help others.
And I do like to encourage each of you to make sure you do follow up with your primary care physician.
Now volunteering at Franklin County Loss, Glenn does anything he can to help others. He's a support group facilitator, serves in the companion program, and sits on the board of directors. Partnering with the Franklin County Coroner's Office, he's also among a group of volunteers who arrive and support those impacted by a suicide loss.
By being able to respond to a scene, we're able to help someone as quickly as possible to let them know that they are not alone, they're not isolated. It's an honor to be able to be with someone in their worst possible moment and just say, I'm here, I'm also a survivor, and we'll do what we can to support you.
You're going into a very sacred place with people in one of the worst times of their lives. And Glenn is able to help bring a very calm and comforting presence, not just to the survivors, but to me as a team member.
Like a lighthouse guiding ships to shore, Glenn has helped countless people through their journey out of darkness. And he says as long as he can, he'll continue to serve as that beacon of hope and light to those in need.
I have people in my life who I've never met, but I know their life story, and it's a beautiful life story because it's not about how a person died, it's how they lived.
Congratulations to Glenn Stevenson. His passion for supporting others defines the caring spirit of a Jefferson Award recipient. Coming up, we'll find out which of our Jefferson Award winners will represent Central Ohio at the National Jefferson Award ceremony held in our nation's capital. The 2019 Jefferson Awards ceremony was held in early April at the historic Lincoln Theater, and the event provided a way to say thank you to the nominees and winners for the work that they do. Our guests were entertained by the dynamic Amber Nicole, a member of the band Mojo Flow. Amber wowed the audience with her powerful voice and set the stage for a special evening to recognize our 20 finalists.
Heard what your mother said, read the books your father read, try and solve the puzzles in your own sweet time.
10 TV alumnus Chuck White joined me on stage to host the evening. Our audience heard the words of encouragement from Kent Holloway, CEO of Lifeline of Ohio, and the Honorable Kevin Boyce, Franklin County Commissioner. Last year's local representative to the National Jefferson Awards ceremony, Kyle McKay, shared his experience of his trip to Washington, D.C. Each year, one of our 5 local winners is selected to represent Columbus at the National Jefferson Awards ceremony. And this year, Glenn Stevenson was chosen for that honor for his work in supporting those affected by suicide. If you know of someone who is making a difference and is improving life in our community, be sure to nominate him or her for a 2020 Jefferson Award. Be on the lookout next January for information on how to submit a nomination. Thank you so much for watching the 2019 Jefferson Awards special. From everyone here at 10 TV, have a great day.
Thanks for watching 10 TV's presentation of the 2019 Jefferson Awards. The Jefferson Awards is sponsored by Lifeline of Ohio.